Prepare yourselves, fearless souls, for a journey that defies the boundaries of the known. Tonight, we unravel the dark tapestry of human existence, where reality blurs and nightmares take form. Brace yourselves as we unveil 13 harrowing true kidnapping horror stories and the top 18 most chilling disappearance tales. But beware, dear viewers, for what lies beyond is not for the faint-hearted. Tonight, we embark on a voyage into the abyss, where every shadow conceals a deeper, darker truth. But wait, that's just the tip of the iceberg. As we draw the curtain on this thrilling chapter, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you who has journeyed with us through the tempestuous seas of Beyond the Forecast. Your unwavering support has been our guiding light, fueling our passion to explore the farthest reaches of the unknown. And now, brace yourselves for the grand unveiling of our newest venture, Scarier Things. Get ready to discuss 13 creepy true kidnapping horror stories and also discuss top 18 creepiest disappearance stories. Let's get started. Story 1. As a child, there are moments in our lives that we wish we could erase from memory. Moments that are too terrifying to forget yet too painful to remember. I have one such memory etched into my mind from my early childhood, an experience that still haunts me to this day. I must have been around 6 or 7 years old, attending a summer rec program that my parents had enrolled me in. It was a typical day of the playground, and I was enjoying my time with other kids my age when I encountered a man sitting on a bench. He seemed friendly, knowing my name and offering me candy, which I naively accepted. He introduced himself as Robbie, claiming to be a friend of my mom's and offering to pick me up since she was running late. Trusting his words, I left with him, unaware of the danger that awaited me. We hurried to his car, and he drove off quickly, his actions growing more alarming by the minute. As we drove, I saw my counselors outside, frantically gesturing toward the car to a park supervisor. Fear began to grip me as I realized something was terribly wrong. The man's demeanor changed, his panicked mutterings and erratic driving filling me with dread. I didn't recognize the surroundings, and a sense of nausea washed over me from sheer terror. Suddenly, the piercing sound of police sirens shattered the tension, and my heart raced as officers approached with guns drawn. I clung to the hope of rescue as the man was apprehended, my tears mixing with relief as my mom arrived, enveloping me in a tight embrace. The realization of how close I had come to danger hit me like a ton of bricks, leaving me shaken to the core. Looking back, I shudder to think of the horrors that could have befallen me if not for the timely intervention of the authorities. It's a memory I wish I could erase, yet it serves as a stark reminder of the darkness that exists in the world and the importance of vigilance and safety. Story 2. It was a late night at work, and after the bustling shift, I found myself hanging out with 2 of my coworkers. We grabbed a bite at Wingstop and enjoyed some downtime before parting ways. As the clock struck 1 a.m., I realized I needed gas before heading home. The nearest gas station happened to be just around the corner from work, although it wasn't my preferred spot due to its sketchy reputation, especially late at night. Despite my reservations, I pulled up to the pump, my car running on fumes. As I reached for my wallet, I noticed a homeless man rummaging through the trash nearby, his presence catching me off guard. I focused on the task at hand, attempting to pay for my gas while keeping an eye on my surroundings. But things took a frightening turn when the homeless man suddenly looked up, locking eyes with me. He was tall and gaunt, with visible signs of drug use etched into his skin. His words sent a chill down my spine as he mentioned the large bag he was holding, his intentions unclear. My instincts screamed at me to retreat, especially when he picked up a rusty kid's bike and began to approach, reassuring me in a chilling tone. Without hesitation, I made a dash for my car, my heart racing as I realized another figure lurking nearby, masked and hidden from view. The gravity of the situation hit me as I sped away, grateful that things hadn't taken a darker turn. Reflecting on the encounter, I couldn't shake the feeling of vulnerability and the realization of how easily the situation could have escalated. It served as a stark reminder to always stay vigilant and prepared for the unexpected, especially in the dead of night. Story 3. When I was 10 years old, my family often visited my uncle's property in Kentucky, nestled deep in the woods, for a rustic retreat from suburban life. My uncle, an avid hunter, generously allowed us to enjoy the serene surroundings whenever he wasn't using it himself. One day, while exploring the woods on my own, I heard what sounded like footsteps nearby, sending a shiver down my spine. Sensing something amiss, I quickly changed direction, only to spot a figure lurking behind a tree at the edge of the woods. Their presence felt ominous, and I sprinted back towards the safety of the property. Upon reaching the house, I recounted my unsettling encounter to my dad, who advised me to stay within the confines of my uncle's land. His words of caution left me feeling uneasy, but I brushed off the feeling and settled in to watch TV while my dad and siblings went out to pick up dinner. As I lounged inside, I was startled by footsteps on the front porch, followed by a knock at the door. Assuming it was my family returning, I eagerly went to answer it, only to freeze in terror when I realized it wasn't them. A stranger stood on the porch, requesting assistance, but alarm bells rang in my mind. I quickly retreated and pretended my dad was home, hoping to deter the stranger. But as I peered out the window, I saw another man lurking outside. Panic gripped me as I heard the front door being forcefully kicked in, the flimsy wooden barrier offering little resistance. In a desperate bid to protect myself, I raced to my uncle's room, where I knew he kept his firearms. With trembling hands, I grasped the shotgun he had taught me to use, ready to defend myself if necessary. As the intruders breached the bedroom door, I aimed the weapon at the towering figure before me, my heart pounding in my chest. Thankfully, my show of resolve seemed to deter the men, who retreated with their hands raised in surrender. With a mixture of relief and fear, I watched as they disappeared into the woods, their intentions still unclear. My dad returned to find the broken door and listened as I recounted the harrowing ordeal. In the aftermath, my uncle bolstered security measures at the property, installing cameras and reinforcing the doors to prevent any future intrusions. Though the incident left us shaken, it served as a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance and preparedness in the face of danger. Story 4. The events of this story unfolded on what I can only describe as one of the darkest days of my life. My ex-girlfriend and I had just ended things after a heated argument in her car, leaving me stranded in the rain in the parking lot of an abandoned office supply store. With no option to call my parents or sister, who was in another state, I attempted to summon an Uber as I trudged towards the street. However, my luck seemed to take a turn for the worse as each Uber ride I requested was canceled, one after the other, leaving me on the brink of tears and frustration. Realizing that I was only a 15-minute walk from home, I decided to brave the rain and begin the journey on foot. But fate had other plans for me, as an SUV pulled up alongside me shortly thereafter. Inside were 3 men, appearing to be around 30 years old. The man in the back seat offered me a ride, and in my desperate state, I accepted without much thought, figuring it was better than walking in the rain. As we embarked on the journey to my house, I attempted to lighten the mood by mentioning my recent breakup, hoping to strike up some conversation. However, my efforts were met with silence, and when I glanced at the man in the front passenger seat, I was met with a chilling, emotionless stare that sent shivers down my spine. Alarm bells began to ring in my mind when the driver ignored the GPS directions and turned in the wrong direction. When I pointed out the mistake, the passenger dismissed my concerns with a nonchalant, chill manner, further adding to the eerie atmosphere inside the vehicle. As we ventured into quieter, desolate streets, my fear intensified, and I knew I had to speak up. I mustered the courage to request that the driver drop me off, but instead of complying, both men erupted into laughter, sending a cold shiver down my spine. With a sinking feeling in my gut, I realized the gravity of the situation when I heard the doors lock as the car slowed to a stop. Instinct kicked in, and without a second thought, I flicked the lock switch back up and pushed open the door, making a desperate dash for freedom. The men inside shouted and reached out to grab me, but I managed to break free and sprinted towards the nearby patch of trees, my heart pounding in my chest. Crossing the parkway, dodging speeding cars in the dead of night, I knew I had narrowly escaped a potentially harrowing fate. Reflecting on the ordeal, I couldn't shake the chilling thought that those men had intentions far more sinister than mere robbery. The uncertainty of their motives continues to haunt me to this day. Story 5. Hi, I'm Jason, and when I was 10 years old, I had a stepbrother whom I'll call Brad. Brad and I used to roam around our neighborhood, often getting into mischief. At the time, I was experimenting with drugs and alcohol, making me a bit of a troublemaker. One day, with our parents out on a date, Brad and I decided to venture downtown. The downtown area was about a 45-minute walk from our home, so we set off, discussing our plans along the way. With limited funds, we stopped at a dollar store to grab some snacks. As we walked, munching on our treats, we stumbled upon an abandoned-looking building. Intrigued, we used a pocket knife to break in. Inside, we found a small room with a desk and cupboard. While rummaging through the drawers, we stumbled upon a gun, which immediately made us uneasy. We quickly exited the building and found ourselves in an alleyway, where a tall, deep-voiced man confronted us. He seemed to know we had been in the building and instructed us to wait for the owner. Unnerved, we waited, but soon heard the sound of tires screeching. The man from earlier emerged from an SUV and began chasing us. Terrified, we sprinted through the alleys and a nearby park, desperately trying to escape. Eventually, after several close calls, we managed to lose our pursuers. Exhausted and shaken, we made our way home, running all the way. As soon as I reached the safety of my house, I collapsed and burst into tears. I never told my parents about the ordeal, but to this day, I shudder to think what might have happened if those people had caught us. Story 6. I attended a concert last year in the south side of Chicago, an area known for its sketchiness and high crime rates. Despite the risks, the allure of cheap tickets, and a well-populated event made me feel relatively safe, especially since I went with a couple of friends. The concert itself was fantastic, but as we left the venue, we realized we were in for a challenging drive due to the heavy traffic. After enduring a standstill for about half an hour, my friends decided to explore alternative routes. We veered off the main road onto quieter neighborhood streets. Oddly, we noticed many people outside despite the late hour, watching us as we passed by. This struck us as unusual, especially compared to our hometown just a couple of hours away. Our unease grew when we realized we hadn't seen another car in quite some time. Attempting to navigate out of the neighborhood, we encountered a disturbing sight, a car parked sideways, effectively blocking both lanes of the road. Sensing danger, I immediately reversed and returned to the previous street, only to encounter the same scenario moments later. With mounting anxiety, we deliberated our options when two men emerged from a nearby house. One positioned himself behind the obstructing car, while the other approached my window. Despite my nerves, I cracked the window open slightly as he inquired about our destination. Tension thickened as the men suddenly lunged towards our doors, attempting to force them open. Panic ensued as I swiftly shifted into reverse, backing away while screams filled the car. In the chaos, one man's arm became wedged in the window before we managed to break free and speed away. The ordeal left us in a state of shock and disbelief. Though shaken, we resolved to backtrack and return to the highway, opting for a safer route. Reflecting on the terrifying encounter, I realized the importance of keeping our doors locked, a small measure that may have saved us from a far worse fate. Story 7. My name is Erica, and I reside in a picturesque town nestled in the heart of Tennessee. Though its quaint charm has long been a source of solace and comfort, the specter of danger looms ever closer with each passing year, casting a shadow over the tranquil facade of our community. My journey through the labyrinth of fear and uncertainty began in my mid-teens, a time when innocence still lingered on the cusp of adulthood. Yet the harsh realities of the world lurked just beyond the horizon. It was during one of my routine walks, a simple act of leisure and introspection, that the first tendrils of dread crept insidiously into my consciousness. As I stepped out into the embrace of the open sky, the tranquility of the moment was shattered by the ominous presence of a man, his gaze fixated upon me with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine. Despite the clamor of unease that echoed in the recesses of my mind, I pressed forward, determined to forge ahead despite the encroaching darkness. But his persistence knew no bounds, his advances growing increasingly brazen with each passing moment. His leering gaze, coupled with the unsettling cadence of his words, left me paralyzed with fear, torn between the instinct to flee and the nagging dread of what lay in wait beyond the safety of my doorstep. In the aftermath of this harrowing encounter, I found myself grappling with a profound sense of vulnerability, the lingering echoes of his unwelcome presence, a constant reminder of the fragility of my own safety. And though I eventually sought refuge within the familiar confines of my home, the specter of his looming shadow refused to be dispelled, casting a pall over the once familiar landscape of my existence. Yet, if the first brush with danger had left me shaken, it was the second encounter that plunged me headlong into the depths of despair. As I traversed the familiar pathways of my neighborhood, the serenity of the moment was shattered by the sudden appearance of a white van, its ominous presence a harbinger of impending peril. With mounting dread, I watched as the vehicle drew closer, its occupants veiled in anonymity as they lingered ominously at the periphery of my awareness. The air crackled with tension as I sought refuge behind the flimsy barrier of a nearby bush, my heart pounding with a fervent prayer for deliverance. In the aftermath of this chilling encounter, I found myself ensnared in a web of fear and uncertainty, haunted by the specter of what might have been. And though I eventually made my way home unscathed, the scars of that fateful day remained etched upon my soul, a silent testament to the fragility of my own mortality. In the wake of these traumatic experiences, I have learned to tread cautiously upon the precarious tightrope of existence, my senses sharpened to the subtle nuances of danger that lurk within the shadows. Yet, even as the specter of fear threatens to engulf me, I refuse to surrender to its suffocating embrace. For beneath the veneer of apprehension lies a steadfast resolve, a flickering flame of defiance that refuses to be extinguished. And though the road ahead may be fraught with peril, I will continue to forge ahead with unwavering determination, guided by the beacon of hope that burns bright within the recesses of my heart. Story 8. This happened a while back when I was about 10 or 11 years old, with my younger sister Isabel, who was around 6 at the time. We often walked to a nearby park, just a short 10-minute stroll away, for some fresh air and fun. Our neighborhood was typically bustling with activity, so walking to the park felt safe and routine. On this particular day, we arrived at the park, filled with families enjoying the sunny weather. The park had 3 sections of play equipment, with one of them being farther away at the bottom of a small incline. As Isabel played on the swings in the 3rd section, I couldn't shake off a feeling of unease. My attention was drawn to a man sitting at a picnic table near the swings, watching us intently. His appearance was intimidating, tall, bulky, and wearing a blue mechanic's uniform. His icy blue eyes bore into us without emotion, never once breaking his gaze. Despite feeling uneasy, I tried to dismiss my apprehension, convincing myself that I was overthinking things, but his unnerving stare persisted. We continued playing near the swings, all the while feeling his intense gaze upon us. Even when I discreetly pulled out my taser, he showed no reaction, only intensifying his stare. Feeling increasingly uncomfortable, I suggested we move to the second section of the park, overlooking the third where the man was seated. I called my mom to pick us up, keeping a watchful eye on the man as we waited. Suddenly, when I looked back to where the man had been, he was gone. Panic set in as I frantically searched for him, fearing for our safety. When my mom arrived, we hurried to her car. But as we did, the man's car started creeping towards us. His sinister stare lingered, filled with anger and malice, before he finally drove off. What troubled me most was the disappearance of a little girl who had been with him earlier. I couldn't shake the feeling of dread, wondering what had become of her. Despite not being able to capture his license plate, we did our best to stay safe and alert. It's a chilling reminder to always trust your instincts and be prepared to seek help or offer assistance when needed, especially in unsettling situations like these. Story 9. When I was around 10 or 11 years old, a routine walk home from the bus stop with my younger brother, Alex, spiraled into a heart-pounding encounter with danger that I'll never forget. As we trudged along the familiar path, the mundane rhythm of our journey was shattered by the appearance of a weather-beaten blue-silver truck. Initially, its passing seemed inconsequential, just another vehicle on the road. But when it circled back, its ominous presence loomed larger, igniting a primal instinct that screamed of impending peril. Sensing the looming threat, I seized my brother's hand, my pulse quickening with each frantic beat. There was no time for deliberation, no luxury of second-guessing. With steely determination, I ushered Alex forward, his tear-stained face a poignant reminder of the responsibility weighing heavily upon my young shoulders. We sought refuge in the shadows, concealed by the protective embrace of neighboring foliage, as the ominous specter of the truck loomed ever closer. Fear gripped my heart in a vice-like embrace, threatening to overwhelm me with its suffocating tendrils. Yet, amidst the chaos and uncertainty, a flicker of resolve burned bright within me. I vowed to shield my brother from the encroaching darkness, to stand as a bulwark against the tide of malevolence that threatened to engulf us both. As the stranger's gaze swept over our hiding place, I held my breath, willing the pounding of my heart to silence. With bated breath, we waited, ensnared in the agonizing grip of anticipation, until finally, mercifully, the intruder departed, leaving behind only the echoing silence of our shared terror. But our ordeal was far from over. With adrenaline coursing through our veins like liquid fire, we raced against time, our frantic footsteps a symphony of desperation as we sought sanctuary within the familiar confines of our home. The seconds stretched into eternity as we fumbled with the lock, each click of the mechanism a whispered prayer for deliverance. And when at last the barrier yielded to our trembling hands, we stumbled across the threshold, our sanctuary a beacon of hope amidst the encroaching darkness. We huddled together, trembling with a mixture of relief and apprehension, as we relayed our harrowing tale to my aunt, her voice a comforting presence in the midst of our shared trauma. Together, we summoned the courage to alert the authorities, but the shadowy figure who had haunted our nightmares remained elusive, his identity shrouded in the cloak of anonymity. In the aftermath of our ordeal, I found solace in the teachings of my grandmother, whose sage advice on the perils of stranger danger had instilled within me a keen sense of vigilance. It was her wisdom that had guided us through the darkest hour, her words a steadfast beacon of hope amidst the encroaching gloom. To the man in the blue-silver truck, whose malevolent presence had cast a pall over our innocence, I offer no forgiveness, no quarter. May the echoes of your misdeeds haunt you for eternity, a reminder of the indomitable spirit of resilience that dwells within us all. And may you never cross paths with another soul, lest your shadow darken their doorstep with the stain of fear and uncertainty. Story 10. At the age of 14, innocence collided with menace during an innocuous outing with my siblings and our faithful canine companion in the wooded expanse near our elementary school in Plainfield, Florida. In the tranquil embrace of nature's bounty, the allure of adventure beckoned, and we eagerly embarked on a journey of exploration and whimsy. Yet beneath the veneer of idyllic serenity lurked the shadows of impending danger, poised to shatter the fragile facade of childhood bliss. As we frolicked amidst the verdant tapestry of the forest, oblivious to the lurking perils that lay concealed within its depths, a sinister specter materialized on the periphery of our consciousness. A SUV, incongruous amidst the desolate landscape of a weekend afternoon, heralded the arrival of three enigmatic figures, their presence an unsettling anomaly in the tranquil tableau. Initially dismissing their presence as benign, I watched with wary curiosity as they disembarked from their metallic steed, each figure cloaked in a shroud of anonymity. Yet, as the tendrils of unease began to coil around my heart, a primal instinct stirred within me, a silent warning of impending peril. The facade of normalcy swiftly unraveled, revealing the true nature of our unwelcome visitors. Three shadowy figures, their intentions veiled in sinister ambiguity, silently stalking our every move with predatory precision. With mounting trepidation, I implored my siblings to retreat from the encroaching danger, but the siren song of childhood innocence held them ensnared in its grasp, oblivious to the lurking menace that loomed ever closer. As the tendrils of fear tightened their grip around my heart, I marshaled every ounce of courage within me, urging my siblings to heed the silent warning that screamed in the depths of my soul. With trembling limbs and bated breath, we fled from the clutches of impending peril, our canine companion serving as our steadfast guardian amidst the encroaching darkness. Yet even as we emerged from the shadowy embrace of the woods, the specter of terror lingered, casting a pall of apprehension over our fragile sense of security. In the aftermath of our harrowing ordeal, my tearful account to my mother fell upon deaf ears, the gravity of our brush with danger lost amidst the cacophony of everyday life. Years later, the echoes of that fateful encounter continued to reverberate through the corridors of my consciousness, serving as a haunting reminder of the fragility of innocence and the ever-present specter of malevolence that lurks within the shadows. To the three malevolent souls who stalked us through the labyrinthine depths of the forest that day, know this: your reign of terror may have been fleeting, but the scars you inflicted upon our souls shall endure for eternity. May you never darken the threshold of another innocent soul, and may the weight of your sins hang heavy upon your conscience until the end of days. Story 11. At the tender age of 10, a seemingly innocuous game with homemade airsoft weapons catapulted me into a harrowing ordeal that would forever etch itself into the annals of my memory. Enveloped in the heady thrills of childhood mischief, my friends and I fashioned crude implements of play from plastic tubes, rubber gloves, and dried peas, the ingredients for harmless fun, or so we believed. Little did we know that our innocent pastime would soon descend into a nightmare of terror and uncertainty. As the spirited exchange of simulated combat unfolded, punctuated by raucous laughter and the staccato bursts of makeshift projectiles, the idyllic tableau of youthful exuberance was shattered by an ominous absence. Two of our companions had vanished into the ether, leaving a palpable void in their wake. Fueled by a mixture of concern and curiosity, we embarked on a tentative quest to locate our missing comrades, guided only by the faint whispers of intuition and the vague contours of familiarity. Yet, our nascent expedition was swiftly interrupted by the jarring intrusion of chaos. With the suddenness of a thunderclap, our wayward friends materialized on the horizon, their panicked visages a testament to the unseen perils that lurked beyond our ken. Their frantic warnings reverberated through the air like an ominous prelude to impending danger, igniting a maelstrom of confusion and dread. As the pall of uncertainty descended, a sinister silhouette emerged from the shadows, a malevolent specter cloaked in the guise of an innocuous van. Panic seized my heart in its icy grip as the ominous vehicle bore down upon us, its intentions veiled in sinister ambiguity. In the tumultuous moments that followed, the inexorable march of terror found its culmination in a desperate struggle for survival. With adrenaline coursing through my veins like liquid fire, I fled with all the fervor of a hunted prey, my every instinct screaming for escape. But fate, it seemed, had other plans in store, as the malevolent architect of our torment closed in with predatory precision, his menacing countenance a grotesque caricature of malice incarnate. In a heartbeat, my world was plunged into a nightmarish abyss as he ensnared me in his clutches, his grip a vice-like embrace that threatened to crush both body and spirit. Yet, just when despair threatened to engulf me in its suffocating embrace, a ray of hope pierced the Stygian gloom. A guardian angel, clad in the trappings of rebellion and defiance, materialized from the shadows, his presence a beacon of salvation amidst the encroaching darkness. With a single decisive blow, he vanquished the specter of malevolence that had haunted my waking nightmares, his valorous act a testament to the indomitable spirit of heroism that dwells within us all. As he stood triumphant amidst the wreckage of our ordeal, his gaze ablaze with righteous fury, I knew that salvation had come at last. In the aftermath of our harrowing ordeal, my heart swelled with gratitude for the enigmatic Savior who had defied the darkness to deliver me from the brink of despair. Yet, try as we might, my father and I could find no trace of the valiant soul who had come to our aid, his identity shrouded in the enigma of anonymity. All that remained in the wake of our tumultuous encounter was a crimson stain upon the pavement, a silent testament to the fleeting nature of heroism and the enduring legacy of courage in the face of adversity. Story 12. As my fiancé and I delved into our childhood memories, one particularly unsettling recollection emerged, transporting me back to a time of innocence tinged with a hint of danger. It was a tale that unfolded during a cherished annual tradition in my cozy Florida neighborhood, the Christmas house celebration. Nestled in the heart of a tight-knit community, where familiarity bred comfort, the festivities of the season enveloped us in a warm embrace. Against the backdrop of twinkling lights and festive decorations, my youthful exuberance knew no bounds as I reveled in the camaraderie of friends and neighbors. On this particular evening, as laughter and merriment echoed through the streets, a sense of security permeated the air. Yet, amidst the joyous chaos, an unexpected intrusion shattered the tranquility. A car materialized, its presence incongruous amid the festive cheer, as an older couple, their faces weathered by time, beckoned to us with an unsettling request. Their inquiry, innocuous at first glance, belied a lurking malevolence. With practiced charm, they sought guidance to behold the splendor of a neighborhood pool. Oblivious to the latent danger, my youthful innocence propelled me forward, eager to extend a helping hand. Yet, as I teetered on the brink of compliance, a sudden tremor of awareness rippled through my consciousness. A primal instinct, whispered warnings from a mother's cautionary tales, urged me to pause, to reconsider. Summoning the courage to heed this inner voice, I hesitated, faltering on the precipice of potential peril. With trembling resolve, I retreated from the brink, racing to seek the sanctuary of parental protection. In a flurry of urgency, the veil of innocence was lifted, revealing the sinister undercurrents lurking beneath the veneer of holiday cheer. As the adults sprang into action, the ephemeral specter of danger dissolved, leaving behind only an empty street, devoid of the lurking threat. Now, as I reflect upon that chilling encounter, I am haunted by the specter of what might have been. A narrow escape from the clutches of potential tragedy serves as a sobering reminder of the fragility of youth and the importance of vigilance in the face of unseen dangers. To the enigmatic couple whose intentions remain shrouded in mystery, a silent plea echoes across the chasm of time. Let our paths remain forever diverged, lest fate conspire to entwine us once more in its treacherous embrace. Story 13. A few weeks ago, during a late-night stroll with my English black lab, a peculiar encounter unfolded, leaving me with a heightened sense of vigilance during our nightly walks. The evening was tranquil as we embarked on our routine stroll, with my trusty companion trotting amiably by my side. Despite his imposing stature, His demeanor was anything but intimidating. As we ambled along, our surroundings bathed in the dim glow of streetlights, a black car stealthily edged up beside us, mirroring our pace with an eerie precision. My unease began to mount as the vehicle persisted in its proximity, seemingly reluctant to veer away. With each passing moment, the tension in the air thickened, punctuated only by the soft hum of the engine. Compounding my apprehension was the fact that my faithful companion, positioned to my right, remained partially obscured by the shadowy veil cast by parked vehicles, rendering him less conspicuous to any passersby. As we approached the culmination of our block, a pivotal moment transpired. Sensing an escalating threat, my astute canine companion subtly maneuvered himself to the forefront, fixating his gaze intently upon the enigmatic vehicle. His silent communication was unmistakable, a silent plea to alter our trajectory and traverse to the opposite side of the street. In a sudden, inexplicable flurry of motion, the black car abruptly accelerated, vanishing into the night with an urgency that sent shivers down my spine. Alarmed by the abrupt departure, I hastened my steps, the sense of disquiet lingering long after I had retreated to the familiarity and safety of my abode. Since that fateful encounter, I've approached our nocturnal excursions with an added layer of caution, acutely aware of the potential dangers lurking in the darkness, forever grateful for the silent vigilance of my steadfast companion. After discussing the 13 kidnap stories, let's delve into the realm of mysterious disappearances with our top 18 creepiest disappearance stories. Number 1. D.B. Cooper. The story of D.B. Cooper has captivated the public imagination for decades, remaining one of the most famous unsolved mysteries of all time. It all began on November 24, 1971, when a man going by the name Dan Cooper hijacked a Boeing 727 during a flight from Portland to Seattle. He threatened to blow up the plane unless he received $200,000 in ransom. After the ransom was delivered, Cooper ordered the plane to take off again, and somewhere over the rugged terrain of Oregon or Washington, he parachuted out of the aircraft into the night, never to be seen again. Despite extensive searches by authorities, no trace of Cooper or the majority of the ransom money was ever found. The only physical evidence ever discovered was a small portion of the ransom bills, unearthed by a family camping along the Columbia River in 1980. Despite this discovery, Cooper's fate remains a mystery. Some FBI agents speculate that he likely perished in the daring jump, but others believe he may have survived and gone into hiding. Without concrete evidence either way, speculation and theories continue to abound, keeping the legend of D.B. Cooper alive in the public consciousness. While the probability of his survival may seem slim, the allure of the unknown ensures that the mystery of D.B. Cooper will endure for years to come. Number 2. Hasyum Quay. Amelia Earhart, a trailblazing aviator renowned for her daring exploits in the skies, etched her name into the annals of history with her audacious solo flight across the Atlantic Ocean in 1932. Yet, it was her ill-fated attempt to circumnavigate the globe in 1937 that would thrust her into the realm of legend, leaving behind a legacy shrouded in mystery and intrigue. Joined by navigator Fred Noonan, Earhart embarked on a perilous odyssey that would take them across vast expanses of ocean and sky, their quest for adventure tempered by the inexorable march of uncertainty. But as they soared into the vast expanse of the Pacific near Hawaii, fate intervened with a capricious hand, casting a shadow of doubt over their journey. In the blink of an eye, Earhart and Noonan vanished from the radar of history, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and unfathomable speculation. Theories abound regarding their ultimate fate, from the possibility of mechanical failure to the tantalizing prospect of a clandestine disappearance orchestrated by unknown forces. Yet, amidst the maelstrom of conjecture, one theory stands out as the most plausible explanation for their enigmatic disappearance: the notion that they simply ran out of fuel and crashed into the unforgiving embrace of the Pacific while in search of Howland Island. their intended destination. Though devoid of concrete evidence, this theory resonates with a haunting simplicity that underscores the inherent risks of exploration and the unpredictable nature of fate. For in the unforgiving realm of the skies, even the most seasoned aviators are but mere mortals, subject to the whims of fortune and the caprices of destiny. And so, the mystery of Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan endures, a testament to the indomitable spirit of adventure that has fueled humanity's quest for discovery since time immemorial. Though their fate may forever remain shrouded in uncertainty, their legacy lives on as a beacon of inspiration for generations to come, a reminder of the boundless potential that lies within the human spirit. Number 3. Fredrick Vintage. Fredrick Vintage, a former cadet in the Air Training Corps of Australia, found himself thrust into the realm of the inexplicable on the fateful evening of October 21, 1978, as he took to the skies over the treacherous waters of Bass Strait. As Vintage soared through the inky darkness, his solitary flight was abruptly interrupted by the ominous presence of an unfamiliar aircraft tailing him from afar. With a mounting sense of unease, he reached out to Melbourne Flight Service to report the unsettling phenomenon unfolding before him. Describing the mysterious craft as a behemoth adorned with dazzling lights, Vintage's apprehension swelled with each passing moment, his senses heightened by the palpable tension that hung heavy in the air. But before he could unravel the enigma that lay shrouded in the shadows, a bone-chilling scraping noise reverberated through the ether, drowning out the hum of his engine. In the blink of an eye, Vintage's transmission fell silent, his voice swallowed by the yawning abyss of the unknown. And as swiftly as it had appeared, his aircraft vanished without a trace, leaving behind only a haunting echo of unanswered questions and unspoken fears. In the wake of Vintage's inexplicable disappearance, theories and speculation ran rampant, each more tantalizing and fantastical than the last. Some posited the notion of extraterrestrial intervention, suggesting that Vintage may have fallen victim to the clutches of a UFO lurking in the depths of the night sky. Others offered a more terrestrial explanation, proposing the theory that Vintage had inadvertently succumbed to spatial disorientation, mistaking his reflection in the shimmering waters below for another aircraft, and ultimately meeting his demise in a tragic crash. Yet, amidst the cacophony of conjecture and conjecture, one truth remains immutable: the enduring mystery of Fredrick Vintage and the haunting circumstances surrounding his untimely demise. For in the unfathomable expanse of the skies, where reality merges with the realm of the unknown, the line between fact and fiction blurs, leaving behind only the haunting echo of unanswered questions and unspoken fears. Number 4. Harold Holt. In December of 1967, the nation of Australia was plunged into a state of shock and disbelief when their Prime Minister, Harold Holt, vanished without a trace during a routine swim at Cheviot Beach. This baffling disappearance, set against the backdrop of turbulent waters and ominous circumstances, has since become the subject of intense scrutiny and speculation, giving rise to a myriad of conspiracy theories that continue to captivate the public imagination. Despite facing dire warnings from his physician regarding the treacherous conditions of the sea, Holt defiantly ventured into the waves, succumbing to the irresistible allure of the ocean's embrace. Yet, what began as a seemingly innocuous excursion swiftly spiraled into a harrowing tale of intrigue and mystery, as the powerful currents of Cheviot Beach claimed the life of one of Australia's most prominent political figures. In the aftermath of Holt's disappearance, a massive search and rescue operation was launched, involving a multitude of agencies and personnel in a desperate bid to locate the missing Prime Minister. However, despite their exhaustive efforts and the deployment of sophisticated search technology, no trace of Holt was ever found, leaving behind only a void of unanswered questions and unspoken suspicions. The absence of a formal inquiry into Holt's disappearance, at the behest of his grieving family, has only served to fuel the flames of speculation, giving rise to a plethora of conspiracy theories that range from the plausible to the outlandish. Some have posited the notion of foul play, suggesting that Holt may have fallen victim to a clandestine assassination plot orchestrated by unknown adversaries. Others have ventured into the realm of the supernatural, entertaining the possibility that Holt's untimely demise may have been the result of otherworldly forces at play. Yet, amidst the cacophony of conjecture and conjecture, one sobering truth remains immutable. The enigma of Harold Holt's disappearance continues to elude comprehension, casting a long shadow over the legacy of a man whose fate remains forever entwined with the mysteries of the deep. Number 5. Margerie West. The disappearance of Margerie West, a young girl who vanished without a trace during a picnic with her family on May 8, 1938, has become a compelling enigma that has captured the attention of the public and baffled investigators for decades. Dubbed the Great Unsolved Mystery of the Missing by The Guardian, the case of Margerie West has remained shrouded in mystery, with countless theories and speculations attempting to unravel the truth behind her disappearance. The events leading up to Margerie's vanishing are as perplexing as they are tragic. During a seemingly ordinary picnic outing with her family, Margerie suddenly disappeared while her sister Dorothea briefly left her alone. Despite an extensive search involving thousands of individuals, Margerie remained elusive, leaving behind only unanswered questions and lingering doubts. In the aftermath of Margerie's disappearance, theories and conjectures abounded, each offering a different perspective on the fate of the missing girl. Initially, Police Commissioner P.W. Foote speculated that Margerie may have wandered off while playing hide-and-seek, attributing her disappearance to an innocent childhood game gone awry. However, the narrative took a dramatic turn with the publication of Harold Beck's book, which proposed an alternative theory regarding Margerie's fate. According to Beck, Margerie was abducted and raised by her captors under the alias Sylvia London. Beck claimed that London eventually confessed to her true identity as Margerie West shortly before her passing in 2009, offering a glimmer of closure to a decades-old mystery. Yet, despite Beck's claims, the mystery of Margerie West's disappearance continues to defy resolution, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and unresolved emotions. The passage of time has done little to quell the curiosity surrounding Margerie's fate, with each new revelation or theory only serving to deepen the intrigue and heighten the sense of bewilderment that surrounds her disappearance. As the years turn into decades, the tale of Margerie West remains a haunting reminder of the fragility of human existence and the enduring power of mystery to captivate and confound the human imagination. Until the truth behind her disappearance is finally revealed, Margerie West will remain forever enshrined in the annals of history as a symbol of the inexplicable and the unknown. Number 6. Zeb Quinn. The case of Zeb Quinn stands as a chilling testament to the enduring mysteries that can linger in the wake of tragedy, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and unsettling clues that continue to haunt those touched by its grim specter. On January 2, 2000, the ordinary rhythms of daily life were shattered by a series of events that would irrevocably alter the course of Quinn's existence. A chance encounter with his friend, Robert Owens, took a sinister turn when Quinn abruptly departed in a panicked state upon receiving a notification on his pager. This seemingly innocuous moment would mark the beginning of a descent into darkness from which there would be no return. As the days stretched into an agonizing void of uncertainty, Quinn's absence weighed heavily upon those who knew him, casting a pall of apprehension over the community at large. Owens, who would later call in sick on Quinn's behalf, emerged as a person of interest in the ensuing investigation, his actions shrouded in suspicion and intrigue. Yet it was the discovery of Quinn's abandoned car 4 days later that would send shockwaves through the collective consciousness, revealing a tableau of horror that defied comprehension. Adorned with peculiar lipstick drawings on the windshield and with a live puppy trapped inside, the vehicle stood as a chilling testament to the sinister forces that had conspired to shatter Quinn's world. Despite initial hopes of a potential kidnapping, Quinn's fate took a tragic turn when, in July 2017, Owens was charged with first-degree murder in connection with Quinn's death. The revelation of Owens' culpability served as a stark reminder of the grim reality that lurked beneath the surface of this enigmatic case, laying bare the raw wounds of a community grappling with the aftermath of unspeakable loss. Yet, even as Owens faces justice for his crimes, the ultimate fate of Zeb Quinn remains veiled in uncertainty, his final moments shrouded in the mists of time. For those who loved him, the haunting echoes of unresolved tragedy serve as a poignant reminder of the fragile nature of existence and the enduring power of loss to shape the contours of our lives. And so, the case of Zeb Quinn stands as a sobering testament to the inexorable march of time and the indomitable spirit of those who refuse to let their loved ones be forgotten. Number 7. George Mallory and Andrew Irvine. The saga of George Mallory and Andrew Irvine encapsulates the treacherous essence of mountain climbing and the unyielding allure of Mount Everest. As part of the ill-fated British Mount Everest expedition of 1924, Mallory and Irvine aimed to etch their names in history as the first conquerors of the summit. Their final sighting, just 800 feet from the top, marked the last glimpse of them alive. Despite exhaustive searches, their whereabouts remained a mystery for 75 years until Mallory's remarkably preserved body was discovered in 1999, complete with a puncture wound on his forehead, suggesting a fatal fall. Mallory's equipment, including his radio, was found intact, emphasizing the abruptness of their demise. While Mallory's fate shed light on some aspects of their expedition, the whereabouts of Irvine's body continue to elude discovery, perpetuating the enigma surrounding their ill-fated journey. Number 8. Rebecca Corium. The disappearance of the 24-year-old British woman on March 21, 2011, while working aboard the Disney Wonder cruise ship, remains shrouded in mystery and frustration. Last seen on CCTV footage talking on an internal phone on board the ship at 5:45 a.m., she appeared distressed before abruptly walking away, never to be seen again. Despite extensive searches by the Mexican Navy and U.S. Coast Guard, no trace of her was found. Speculations abound regarding her fate, with some suggesting she may have jumped, others proposing she was pushed by a rogue wave, and her parents believing she was thrown into the ocean. However, the lack of conclusive evidence and the criticisms surrounding the official investigation have left her disappearance hauntingly unresolved, fueling speculation and frustration among those seeking answers. Number 9. Margaret Fox. In 1974, Margaret Fox advertised her babysitting services, catching the attention of John Marshall. After Marshall contacted her, he instructed her to meet him in Mount Holly, New Jersey. Margaret boarded a bus to the designated meeting place, but vanished without a trace. Authorities were alerted, and their investigation led them to trace Marshall's phone number to a supermarket payphone, raising suspicions. Additionally, the Fox family received a ransom demand of $10,000 for Margaret's safe return from an unidentified caller. Despite efforts by investigators, the call could not be traced, and the man remained unidentified. The case gradually faded from public attention without resolution, leaving Margaret's fate and Marshall's identity unknown. It is now a priority to ensure Margaret receives a proper burial if she is indeed deceased. Number 10. The Springfield Three. The disappearance of Cheryl Levitt, Stacy McCall, and Susie Streeter in 1992 from Springfield, Missouri, remains one of the most baffling unsolved cases in American history. It all began innocently enough, as the three women spent the night at Levitt's home after attending high school graduation parties. However, when a friend arrived the next morning, they discovered an eerie scene. The three women were missing, yet their cars were parked outside. There were no signs of a struggle inside the house, with the front door left unlocked, belongings untouched, and the TV still on. The friend also noted a broken porch light and received an obscene phone call, adding to the mystery. Further complicating matters, McCall's mother found a strange message on the answering machine, but it was accidentally deleted. Despite initial efforts, the crime scene was poorly preserved, hampering the investigation. Decades later, the families of Cheryl, Stacy, and Susie still grapple with unanswered questions, clinging to hope while haunted by the uncertainty of their loved one's fate. Number 11. Bobby Dunbar. The tale of Bobby Dunbar is indeed a perplexing one, shrouded in speculation and mystery. It all began when Bobby vanished during a family fishing trip on August 23, 1912, leading authorities to suspect kidnapping. A boy resembling Bobby was later discovered in the company of William Walters, who claimed the child was actually named Bruce Anderson. Julia Anderson, Bruce's mother, supported Walters' claim, stating she had allowed her son to accompany him on a trip. Despite Julia's legal battles, which she fought without the aid of a lawyer due to financial constraints, the court ruled in favor of the Dunbars, and Bruce was raised as Bobby for the rest of his life. Julia faced harsh scrutiny and damage to her reputation in the media. However, subsequent DNA testing revealed that the child was not Bobby Dunbar, adding weight to Julia's assertions and deepening the enigma surrounding Bobby's true fate. Number 12. Maura Murray. On February 9, 2004, the disappearance of Marie, a nursing student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, sparked a perplexing mystery that continues to baffle investigators and haunt her family. It began with an email to her professors, citing a fabricated death in the family, a claim later debunked by her parents. Marie then made preparations, booking hotels in Vermont and packing her car with clothing and toiletries. After leaving campus, she withdrew money from an ATM and purchased alcohol before crashing her car that evening. When police arrived, Marie was nowhere to be found, and a thorough search yielded no footprints in the snow. Suspect items were discovered in her car, including directions to Vermont and blank accident report forms, but Marie herself remains missing. Despite pleas from her family for assistance, the whereabouts of Marie remain a haunting enigma, leaving her loved ones desperate for answers and the public to speculate on her fate. Number 13. Brandon Swanson. On May 14, 2008, Brandon Swanson, a 19-year-old student from Minnesota, found himself in a perplexing situation after veering into a ditch while driving home from a night of partying. He reached out to his parents for help and remained on the phone with them for 47 minutes. Despite their efforts, they couldn't locate him at the spot he claimed to be. Swanson assured his parents he was uninjured, and when his vehicle was later found, it showed no signs of damage. Still on the call, Swanson directed his father to meet him at a local bar before abruptly cursing and falling silent. Subsequent investigations revealed that Swanson was actually around 25 miles away from his believed location. It's presumed that he accidentally fell into the Yellow Medicine River, leading to his sudden outburst and tragic drowning. Number 14. Lars Matang. One of the most perplexing and eerie disappearances involves 28-year-old German man Lars Matang. In June 2014, Matang was on vacation with friends at Bulgaria's Golden Sands seaside resort. However, due to a ruptured eardrum, he was unable to fly back home with his friends and ended up staying in the country alone. He checked into the Hotel Color Varna, where he reportedly started exhibiting paranoid behavior. Matang even contacted his mother, claiming that 4 men were after him. The last sighting of Matang was at Varna Airport, where he was seen running in fear, hopping a fence, and vanishing into the nearby woods. Since then, there has been no trace of him, and his whereabouts remain a haunting mystery, leaving many questions unanswered about the source of his fear and what happened to him. Number 15. The Fort Worth Missing Trio. Rachel Trulika, Lisa Renee Wilson, and Julie Ann Mosley disappeared while Christmas shopping at the Seminary South Shopping Center in Fort Worth, Texas. Their failure to return home prompted their families to launch a search, leading to the discovery of Trulika's car in the parking lot, filled with purchased gifts, suggesting they had returned to the vehicle at some point. However, the young women were nowhere to be found. Trulika's husband later received a letter purportedly from her, stating they were heading to Houston to get away and would return in about a week. Despite this, they never returned, and their whereabouts have remained a mystery ever since. Doubts have been cast on the authenticity of the letter by the families, who continue to hold out hope for closure. The search for answers persists, driven by the desire for closure, even as time passes. Number 16. Lauren Spiro. The disappearance of 20-year-old Lauren Spear in 2011 continues to be a distressing enigma. Lauren, a student at Indiana University studying textiles merchandising, went out with friends to Bloomington's Kilroy Sports Bar on the night of June 2, 2011. She left the bar around 2:30 a.m. and was last seen departing from a friend's apartment at 4:30 a.m. Despite extensive efforts by authorities, Lauren's whereabouts remain unknown. The latest images, obtained from a security camera, depict Lauren just hours before she vanished. Various theories have been proposed, including abduction and a fatal overdose, as Lauren had reportedly consumed alcohol and drugs that night. One speculation is that Lauren may have been abducted by a biker gang after collapsing on her way home. Despite thousands of tips and police investigations, Lauren's disappearance remains unsolved, leaving her family grappling with the unbearable uncertainty of not knowing her fate or whereabouts. Number 17. Evelyn Hartley. Evelyn Hartley, a teenager, was entrusted with babysitting the daughter of Viggo Rasmussen, a colleague of her parents. However, when she failed to check in as planned, her father Richard became worried. After attempting to contact her with no success, he decided to visit the Rasmussen residence himself. Upon arrival, he was met with a scene of chaos. Items were strewn about, furniture was moved, and signs of a break-in were evident, including a torn window screen, pry marks, footprints, and bloodstains. Although the baby was found unharmed upstairs, Evelyn was nowhere to be found. A witness later reported seeing two men driving away with a young girl, further supporting the theory that Evelyn was kidnapped during the break-in. The incident left the community shaken and prompted a thorough investigation into Evelyn's disappearance. Number 18. Ryan Chambers. Ryan Chambers, an Australian, embarked on a spiritual quest to India with his friend John Booker in June 2005. However, concerns arose when Booker noticed Chambers' sleep deprivation and unusual behavior. Then, on the early morning of August 24, 21-year-old Chambers abruptly left his ashram in Rishikesh, clad only in shorts. He left behind all his belongings along with a cryptic note stating, "If I'm gone, doesn't worry, I'm not dead. I'm freeing minds, but first, I have to free my own." Following his disappearance, an extensive search was conducted, but no trace of Chambers was found. Despite years of efforts, he remained missing, and in 2023, he was legally declared deceased. The mystery surrounding Chambers' disappearance and the enigmatic note continue to intrigue those who knew him, leaving unanswered questions about his fate and the circumstances surrounding his departure. Today on the horizon, we're on track for something truly special. Picture this. This video, serving as the inaugural episode for Scarier Things, promises to kick-start our season with a spine-chilling bang. Picture this. As the curtains rise on our very first episode, we're diving headfirst into the abyss with a tantalizing cliffhanger teaser. A quick glimpse into the shadows, showcasing what lurks within the depths of our forthcoming journey. But hold on to your seats. This time, We're adding a dash of mystery with a creepy countdown or a similar heart-pounding element. Why, you ask? Simple. To ensure our audience knows they're witnessing the birth of something truly extraordinary. Let's make it count. Let's make it unforgettable. Let's ensure that our audience not only stays tuned, but craves the next chapter in our terrifying saga. So buckle up, dear viewers. The countdown has begun, and the thrill is palpable. Get ready to immerse yourselves in the darkness, because Scarier Things is about to redefine your perception of fear. See you on the other side, where the nightmares await.